everyone. I'm Eric Bowling. Welcome to Cashing In. Our Cashing In crew this week: Wayne Rogers, Jonathan Honig, Michelle Fields, and Juan Williams. Welcome, everybody. ISIS becoming even more ruthless and now demanding a $6.5 million ransom for an American woman held captive. And you just heard Dan Rather say he'd rather pay, but nearly two-thirds of Americans disagree. Wayne, who's right, Dan Rather or just about everyone in the world?
I think everyone in the world. The two-thirds I go with, yes. All you do when you do that is encourage them to do more kidnappings. Every time you pay, that's how they make money. They're taking ransom. You've got to do something about that. You have to just say to people, if you get caught, I'm terribly sorry. We're going to try, but we're not going to pay ransom. Remember, the Israelis went into Entebbe and got people out. That's what we have to do if you're going to rescue somebody. Go in and do it with force.
Yeah, Michelle, who comes up with the number? So they say they want $6.5 million for this unnamed female journalist that they're holding. They wanted $132 million for James Foley, and they beheaded him anyway. This sounds like a really bad idea, negotiating with terrorists.
I agree. Look, when ISIS asks for money, you don't send money, you send troops. You send troops to destroy them and get back our people. We need to show these terrorists that when they kidnap an American, it does not result in monetary compensation. It results in swift retaliation. We are not going to subsidize, because that's what's happening, subsidize their atrocious, evil acts by giving them money. There's a reason why Al-Qaeda targets Europeans, why they kidnap Europeans all the time. It's because Al-Qaeda knows that European governments will pay the ransom. European governments have given Al-Qaeda $125 million since 2008. They are basically giving them money to continue to be awful, evil people.
Right. Juan, surely you can't condone negotiating with terrorists, I would hope, right, Juan?
I wouldn't negotiate with terrorists, but let me just say that when it's personal, Eric, you know, then it becomes a different issue. And if someone in the corporation, in our company, Dan Rather wasn't speaking universally there. He was talking about if someone on his team, on his network, who works for him was kidnapped. I'm not sure O'Reilly would pay to get me back, but, you know, I'm glad to hear that he cares about, you know, Dan cares about his people.
We might pay. I'd pony up at least $10 to get you back, Juan. But let me stay with you for one second.
Let me just say,
hold on one second.
I don't like Michelle's idea about sending troops in. That's going to cost a lot, too.
Stay with me for a second here, Juan.
A rescue mission?
Hold on. When the Obama administration traded 5 Gitmo terrorists, I think we have a picture of these 5, for Sergeant Bergdahl, when they did that, didn't they, in fact, negotiate with the terrorists? We gave 5 terrorists back to the bad guys. What's the difference if it's 5 guys or if it's $132 million, or in this case, $6.5 million? You're still negotiating, Juan.
No, that's a prisoner swap, and that's a matter of making a calculation as to the value of these prisoners. They were older prisoners. They're not going back to the battlefield. We're able to monitor them.
So,
all of those issues are what you're discussing.
We're not talking about price. We're talking about the idea of negotiating with the terrorists, giving into their demands. Hold on. Hold the thought.
No.
Jonathan, let's talk about it a little bit. So at no occasion do we do this, right?
No, you cannot negotiate with brutality. You can't negotiate with savages, Juan. I don't care how old they are. And paying ransom or engaging in these prisoner swaps only encourages terrorism. It rewards them. And, in fact, it morally sanctions these savages. And, Wayne, you mentioned Entebbe with Israel. You know, the Islamist attacks against Israel have only gone up since 1993 when they started this whole prisoner swap business. And, Eric, I agree with you. The Bo Bergdahl only inflames and encourages the Muslim street to rise up against the U.S.
Let me be a little provocative here. To pull up a picture of Aifa Siddiqui. Now, she's called Lady Al-Qaeda. She's a neurosurgeon, neuroscientist, I'm sorry, that we are holding. She's a terrorist. We've sentenced her to some 84 years, I believe. Wayne, so if we have this lady, Al-Qaeda, wouldn't you, as a, let's say you're parent of Steven Sotloff, the gentleman who's being held by ISIS, would you do a one-to-one swap for this guy, for her?
Absolutely. I don't think there's anything wrong with swapping. But if you're holding people for ransom,
but you're rewarding them.
You're incentivizing
them.
It's exactly the same thing. What's the difference between swapping $10 million?
Wayne.
Exactly.
No, you know, you guys are so blind on this. You got to see there's a difference between making a calculated maneuver in order to get your people back. The Israelis always bring their people home.
You threw it at Wayne. Now, Wayne, go ahead. You leaned into the camera. You were going to say something. What do you have to say?
I was until I was so rudely interrupted. I'm saying that if you've got somebody and this person is valuable to you and you want to get them out, yes, swapping a prisoner for them is fine. But that's not negotiating with them. That's saying, okay, I want this person, you want this person, that's fine.
Negotiating.
What are you
talking about?
Let me finish, for God's
Aren't
sake.
you a
Will you
businessman?
shut up
That
and
is
let me finish?
Fucking nonsense.
What is the matter with you? Why do you have to talk all the time?
Okay.
Listen, let me finish.
Wayne, calm
Just
down.
shut
All
up.
right, guys. Okay, go ahead, Michelle, then Jonathan.
Well, now that Wayne has put down the gun, what I'm trying to say is that is negotiating. When you are making that swap, you are negotiating with terrorists. You're incentivizing to continue to do this. Now they're going to seek out more Americans because they know when they get one that they have bargaining chips. That's what it is.
John?
Yeah, and that's the point. How to defeat militant Islam is war. Eric, we talked about it last week. It is total war. In fact, the last war this country won, we dropped 2 atomic bombs on civilian centers. So to say, well, we should negotiate with people to try to win a war against militant Islam is just asinine.
Quick thought, Juan, before I go back to Wayne, who's very upset.
The reality is, all right, the reality is there are Geneva Conventions if you have state versus state in war, and there are way you treat prisoners, there are prisoner swaps. That's okay. As Wayne explained to you, that's a matter of diplomacy and negotiation that's at a different level than paying somebody
Yes, it's
and supporting their
negotiating.
terrorist behavior.
With killers, with
You just
savages.
said it. It's negotiating with terrorists.
Go ahead, Wayne. Last thought, we got to go.
Well, it's not negotiating, but you're a moron
Yes, it is.
because you talk too much and you don't think through it. Anyway, prisoner swapping has been done for a number of years and for a number of generations. It is a legitimate way to deal with this. The best way, of course, is what I said about Entebbe, where people go.
How well has it worked?
Before the whole show goes off the rails, we're going to have to leave it there. I remember somewhere in the Bible it says, don't negotiate with the devil no matter what the cost is. We're going to have to leave it right there. You can continue the conversation right now on Twitter. Hashtag cashing in. Get this. Continues to be a beast on social media, trending on Twitter 31 weeks in a row. Our View crew, that's you, are a force of nature in the American political debate. Lola Martinez says, just tweeted this actually, we cannot negotiate with terrorists. It will be open season on all Americans. If we do, send the SEALs in. Hashtag cashing in.